Good afternoon. It is 1:30, and we will convene. We have a quorum. We'll convene the meeting of the Board of Adjustment for September 19th, 2013. We are here today to hear special exemptions, variances, oil and gas-related matters, and appeal from the decision of a director. I would ask that you please silence all cell phones throughout the course of a meeting. We have a moderate agenda. It is our goal to deal with it as efficiently as possible, so we appreciate your cooperation. The first, we have to receive the minutes of the September 5th meeting.
So moved.
Second. I wasn't here. Can I vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cast your votes. Passed unanimously. Next, we have continuances requests by the staff.
We have two today. Item number 10, case number 13781, is requesting a continuance to October 3rd, and item number 11, case number 13598, is requesting a continuance to November 7th.
Any continuances by the public? With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I've got to recuse on number 10. Can I even vote for a continuance? Okay. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Passed unanimously. There are no items on our consent docket, so the item will deal with items requiring a separate vote. Kathy?
Item number 1, case number 13791, request of Oklahoma City Housing Services Redevelopment Corporation for a variance to the minimum lot width and side yard setback located at 1227 North Ellison Avenue.
Good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Neela Crank-Clements, Director of Oklahoma City Housing Services Redevelopment Corporation.
And your address?
400 Northwest 23rd, Oklahoma City.
Okay. Would you please speak to your application?
Yes, we are proposing to build a new home on a residential lot in the Classen 10-Pin neighborhood. This lot was platted with these dimensions in the late 1890s. We would like to go back with a home that will sit in a similar footprint as the home that was built there in the 1920s. That home has long since been torn down. I believe it was torn down between 1991 and 1999. And we're requesting a variance to the lot width, which is 37.5 feet, is what is platted at. Code requires a 50-foot lot width, and we're also requesting a variance to the side yard setback. It is required at 15 feet. We are proposing to encroach on that 3.4 feet.
And this is, the staff reports indicates that this house is consistent with the one that was there on the sandstone
It is.
maps
It's
in
actually
20s.
smaller. The footprint is smaller than the one that was prior to this location.
Are you aware of anybody in opposition to your
We are not.
questions from the board?
Make a motion to approve the application.
Second.
All those in favor? You're approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 2, case number 13792, request of Chris and Linda Reinhardt for a variance to allow a 440-square-foot covered patio to an existing accessory building located at 12100 Southwest 53rd Street.
Good afternoon. I'm Chris Reinhardt.
Will you speak to your application, sir?
Yes, sir. Me and my wife are asking for a variance for 440 square foot over the allowable amount for a 1-acre lot. There was some confusion when I went and did the city permit. I permitted everything else on the property, the pools, the fences, the concrete, and when it came to this, there was a misunderstanding between me and the city on what a lean-to was, and it's probably my fault more than their fault, but I understood a lean-to was a piece of metal over it, and she said it could be converted into a storage area, and that's not what my intent was. And after I got the drawing redone and put up the porch, I believe it's been about 14 months ago, there's been a revisit to my facility, to my house, by one of the gentlemen for approving permits here in Oklahoma City, and there's a variance from the original drawing is what he brought to my attention. So I'm here asking if we can get a variance for the additional 440 feet. And I believe you've got the pictures of it up above. that we included in. I'm not sure, this is the first time here, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say anything else or not.
Was there anybody,
Questions?
any of your neighbors in opposition to
No,
this?
sir, they're actually very excited about it. So, as you can see, we're a pretty good steward of the neighborhood, and we actually went around and talked to every neighbor before we put the building up. There's 5 other buildings in the neighborhood, either up at this time or about to be put up at this time. If there is an opposition, I'm not aware of it.
Questions from the board members?
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your time.
Item number 3, case number 13793, request of Citizens Bank of Edmond for a variance to the minimum 110-foot queuing lane and front building setback to permit a drive-up ATM located at 16802 North Pennsylvania Avenue.
Hi, I'm Lisa Trent with Citizens Bank of Edmond, and we are requesting 2 variances today. One is to the 25-foot building setback, at which we're at 18 feet right now, and the other one is to the 110-foot queuing lane, at which we're at 71 feet.
Okay, and this is to put up an ATM.
Yes.
So our staff comment says it will not utilize any parking spaces like with additional type of outbuilding. And
It's in a shopping center, and you can kind of see there's a restaurant there on the corner, and there's no parking spaces on that side. It's all just a drivable area.
Questions?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'll move approval.
Second.
All right, approval, motion and a second. All in favor? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're approved.
Item number 4, case number 13795, request of Veranda Shopping Center for a variance to allow an accessory sign located at 15200, 15220, 15300 Northwestern Avenue, and 1041 Northwest 150th Street.
I'm Paul LaFever, 522 Cole Court, representing the applicant. Handing out a small couple pages for your convenience there. This is Veranda Shopping Center at Northwestern and 150th. What we're here for is requesting permission for a second accessory sign. When this was zoned in 2001 with a PUD, 2 signs were approved, one on Western and one on 150th Street. About 18 months later, the property subject to the PUD was split, and a Walgreens was developed on the hard corner. Whether that was originally intended, I don't know, but it ended up with an accessory sign for Walgreens right on the hard corner. The shopping center was not constructed. Walgreens went up about 2003. The shopping center never got constructed until 2007. It was not successful with a lease-up. My client, who the principals for Veranda Shopping Center LLC are John Kennedy and David Rainbolt. They've purchased this late in last year. They're making a very concerted effort to try to get it leased up and functioning. It does not have any signage at this point. And so what we're trying to do here is to get the 2 signs that were theoretically approved on the PUD to get them approved for one on 150th Street and one on Western. My client has spoken with neighbors. They have friends in the Fairview Farms area immediately to the west. And I think the neighbors, and certainly the tenants are anxious to get the shopping center leased up and operating, and some adequate signage would be very helpful in that process.
So there's no, where that fountain is where you pull in, there's no marquee sign or anything there currently, correct?
That's right. And there, in your packet there are a copy of the sign that they're proposing for both locations. It's very well designed.
So I have just one question.
Sure.
If we've got Pad A and Pad B, and you're requesting a sign for both of those that are, so if Pad A and Pad B gets subdivided, becomes whatever, fast food, that signage would go on that sign, correct? That would not be allowed to have another sign?
It will not be allowed
Okay.
to have another sign, and if there are no contracts even being discussed at this point to sell those sites, but if that comes to pass and signage other than a building sign on the building would be required, what I've advised my client, that it would then be appropriate to go through the zoning process if something different was required at that point. But that's...
Questions of the board?
Make a motion to approve the application.
Second.
All in favor? Motion passed. Thank you.
Item number 5, case number 13796, request of Midtown Hill LLC for a variance to permit chain link fencing located at 409 West Park Place.
You don't see anyone here. Let's continue this to the end of the docket. That way we'll give the applicant a chance to be heard. If you call number 6.
Item number 6, case number 13797, request of Ambassador Hotel OKC LLC for a variance to the sign regulations and to allow parking and maneuvering in the public right-of-way located at 1200 North Walker Avenue.
Good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Catherine Montgomery with the Preservation and Design Studio, and we're working on the conversion of the Osler building to an Ambassador Hotel. And we have 2 items that were before the Board of Adjustment on this afternoon. One is the proposed sign, which I noticed that the packet wasn't really illustrative, so I brought a little copy of the rendering that's been done for the project, which shows the sign in its context, location, and also does a very good job of illustrating the size of the building. The size of the sign that's been proposed is outside of the limits allowed by the ordinance, so that's why we're here today. It is consistent with the spirit and intent. And then the second item is a proposed pull-in, because there's very little land around the building. In fact, the parking for the hotel is going to be about a half a block away. This pull-in is needed so that patrons can be dropped off or picked up right there at the door to the hotel. Also, since the waffle place at 1212 is so successful now, that place is really, the traffic is really picking up. So I think it's even more important that they have an opportunity to pull off instead of obstructing traffic.
One note, this has been approved by the Downtown Design Review Board. They had no modifications. Any questions from the board? I'd entertain a motion for approval.
No objections. I'll move approval.
Second.
All in favor? You're approved.
Thank you.
Good luck with your project.
Thanks.
Item number 7, case number 13798, request of Garrett and Company for a variance to the sidewalk and rear yard setback requirements located at 822 Northwest 86th Street.
My name is Pat Garrett, with manager of Garrett and Company, 9701 North Broadway Extension, Oklahoma City. I'm asking to change the rear setback on one of the buildings we're planning there from 20 foot to 5 foot. The reason for that, it adjoins 2 lots that are zoned R residential. They're the only 2 lots left in that block that are still zoned R1. The owner of those lots also owns the lots joining it. They're zoned I-2. This area is a transitional area, and it's mainly now all warehouses. We have 4 warehouses in the neighborhood. We're planning 4 new ones. And I have some photos, if you would like, of the sites.
Please hand Kathy your photos, please. Jeff, you have some?
I'm going to take issue with one statement in your application where you say there will never be residential development adjoining this land. As we've considered requests for variances on sidewalks, I think we've all acknowledged that none of us knows 5, 10, 15, 20 years what will happen. Where I played and rode my bike is, now Hefner Parkway, and nobody could have envisioned that at that time. So to make a statement that any of us can foresee where development will go and, which areas may be residential or business or otherwise is unrealistic, I think, for us. And I think, the mood of this board has been to take into consideration the circumstances that you face, but at the same time, if we grant your variance request on the sidewalk requirement, that variance request stays with that piece of land and exempts it from that sidewalks requirement from here on out. So what I would be more comfortable is considering, an option that takes into consideration the circumstance that you're in today, but does not create a precedent or doesn't create a patchwork of sidewalks in the city, when it's clear the intent was to have a network of sidewalks that were usable to the citizens of the city.
I agree, Jeff. We have this struggle with, do we force someone to have a sidewalk when we don't know what the use will be 10, 15 years down the road? And this is not very far from a development that is trying to convert an existing or a former school into residential apartments, I believe. So I'd be comfortable with a limited duration.
Yeah, I didn't have any problem with the setback, but the sidewalk caused me a little trouble.
I agree. The setback I'm fine with. The sidewalk, I do not want to grant the variance, or we want to condition a variance so that we're not setting in place a variance to the sidewalk requirement that
If the pictures, you'll notice that there's not one sidewalk in this addition, and this addition is being built out fairly quickly with industrial, and there is no residential traffic as such in this area. It also has an oil field. Almost 2 of the blocks have oil wells on them, and they're all gated to where there's no access to that, and most of those streets inside where the oil wells are have been vacated. I vacated those about 12 years ago when I drilled the wells, and I don't see any new homes tearing down these new warehouses to build residential.
And we understand that, and we understand the condition and the context within which your application is. What we're talking about is the fact that none of us knows what the future years will bring. And if we grant your variance request on the sidewalk, that request stays with that parcel from this point forward.
Well,
what options do we have in terms of
Well, as you mentioned, you can do it. You can grant the variance for a period of time, or you can tie it to the specific industrial use. If it's ever developed for residential purposes, then they have to put the sign in, something like that.
We would live with that.
I'm agreeable with that.
Want to make a motion to that effect?
If somebody wrote down what we talked about, yeah, so moved. I'm okay on the setback, and the sidewalk is conditioned on this use. Is that
Second.
okay?
All in favor? Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Item number 8, case number 13782, request of Ideal Homes for a variance to the model home accessory parking lot location located at 2628 Northwest 186th Street.
Good afternoon. My name is Rob Green. I'm with Ideal Homes. We are here requesting a variance to a model home accessory parking lot on location in the PUD 1028 planned unit development, located at 2628 Northwest 186th Street. And I'm passing around a little more up-to-date photo of the establishment of that area.
Unless I missed it in here, how long is temporary?
We look at no more than 4 years. It could be less.
I'd be almost inclined for 3 or less.
Would you be comfortable with that, 3 years, not to exceed 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, given the growth, with that community, I feel comfortable.
I make a motion to grant the variance for a period of not more than 3 years.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, sir.
Item number 9, case number 13779, request of Hoss Cooley for a variance to the sidewalk requirement located at 632 North Sarah Road.
I'm Hoss Cooley, and I'm a builder-developer out in that area around Reno, Morgan Road, and Sarah area, and I'm built a new building there at 632 North Sarah Road, and I'm just asking for a variance on the sidewalk. I have no problem putting sidewalks in if I felt like this sidewalk would be used, but it dead ends, the north end of it dead ends into the railroad track, and where they're asking me to put it is basically you're right in the bar ditch, and that water that comes down through there would end up washing any dirt out from under it that you put in there, and then when you get down to the north end, you would have to climb out of that ditch to get back on Sarah Road. I mean, it's 8 to 10 feet. When I'm down in that ditch, I got to look up to see Sarah Road, and I just think there's better places for y'all to put that money on other sidewalks than this location, because I don't feel like it would ever be used.
We thank you for amending your application and including the pictures and coming back before us. I almost would be similar to the case that we just discussed. As long as the use is conditioned, I would have no problem.
We understand that the site is not really compatible with the installation of a sidewalk at this time, but at the same time, we don't want to create a scenario where a sidewalk would never be required, because we don't know, in the years to come how that area may change. So we'd like to treat it, I think, the way we did the last sidewalk application, and is to go ahead and approve you conditioned on this particular use. And so if the area begins to develop in residential or in another area, the sidewalk requirement would be reinstated. Am I correct?
I'd support that motion.
I'd make a motion to that effect then, if that's acceptable to you. The sidewalk requirement is waived for you then, and conditioned upon this use.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Very good. You're approved, sir.
Thank you very much.
Kathy, can we, the lady with the Midtown Mutts Dog Park, she's not here. Do we need to make a motion to continue that to the next meeting? Okay, I'd entertain that motion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Thank you, gentlemen and lady. There being no other business before the board, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? We are adjourned. Thank you.